Hey, so I'm gonna be making a different kind of video today. Um, I kind of wanted to address this a few days ago, but unfortunately, that recording had to get scrapped because I could not pick up the audio. I was I was gonna talk about the meta. It was a collaboration between me and another content creator, Spicy Meme Lord. I'll put his channel in the description regardless, but I'm gonna need to re-record this solo, so I'll try to talk about all the stuff we covered and remember the points he brought up as best I can. There was also some things I wanted to bring up that we didn't cover last time that crossed my mind a little bit after that initial conversation, so I'm just gonna play some nice music while I talk, and I'll do animations on while I spam Tempest, because if I didn't know animations, it would not take very long at all. So, I wanted to address defense. Oh yeah, by the way, if there's background noise, I'm sorry, that's just something that's going to happen. I wanted to address defense in the meta. Not like defense teams, but defense the stat. Defense has pretty much never really had a place on units ever since the beginning. It was like, well, in the beginning, defense sort of had a place. Units like Male Robin, Hector, Young Tiki, they had their niche because they were kind of built to counter what was good at the time. Hector would body talk me, Robin would body talk me, Tiki would body Hector, you know, that kind of stuff. But after skill inheritance, offense took off like a damn rocket, and it's very apparent with things like Blade Tomes. Blade Tomes were like the scourge of the meta for pretty much forever, but after a while, the meta, it started getting faster. Like, Blade Tomes, you would usually run Ardent Sacrifice to get it set up, but eventually that was no longer good enough. We had people discovered Reinhardt. I know Reinhardt wasn't immediately like the best dude ever. People took time to get him to be where he is today, especially after Quick and Pulse. I think Quick and Pulse really just pushed Reinhardt above and beyond. And in all this midst, you would think people would run defensive units to try and counter that, but defense never really had the tools to take off in all of this. Like, we have Felicia over here, and she could hit like 43 res. Yeah, that's nowhere near good enough. Celica brought Distant Death. That really didn't see much outside of a few niche uses, but eventually, well, before I get to that, most defensive builds had no real source of skills outside of Fury, which was really bad because a lot of defensive builds also rely on like quick riposte and breakers, so that way you hard counter things, but Fury will knock you out of that range. And I don't think you could really succeed. I don't think you can succeed with defense unless you're running Armor Emblem back then. Things changed a lot with the Brave Heroes banner. That goes without saying, but Brave Lyn and Brave Ike revolutionized pretty much everything. Bravelyn almost killed Distant Counter because Sake's Blessing is still dumb, and I hate the meta now, but Brave Ike, he pretty much single-handedly revolutionized defensive builds. He had Steady Breath, and that skill is so fucking broken, and it like shook half the tier list, in my opinion. I changed a lot of ratings on my personal tier list. Like freaking Hinata went from like A, and I almost considered bumping him to S because his melee became absurd. He could take on lances, and it was great. This was something defense really needed. But unfortunately, it was infantry and armor melee locked, so dudes like Xander couldn't really abuse it. Xander still didn't have much in the way of defense, but the Tempest Trials to follow really did help push defense even further, because the mini Tempest, that brought the Distant Death Sacred Seal, and that did help ranged combat a bit because Bravelyn and Reinhardt were like immediately top dogs. It was, I don't like it. I need to train up Sheena to get out of the score range so I can stop finding everything horse. So yeah, the Distant Death Sacred Seal from the Mini Tempest, and then from, I know pretty much nobody does this, but it's still totally viable. Black Knight had Steady Stance, and unlike Steady Breath, Steady Stance is not locked to any specific movement type, I don't think. Staves might not inherit it because Staves can't inherit anything, but I don't know. But needless to say, Steady Stance was a push that defensive horses like Stall and Xander, they can abuse it. That was something they needed. And then the Sacred Seal Forge came out. This gave us stuff like Distant Defense 3 as a Sacred Seal. And that is absurd because if you're in like any Discord server with me, I've probably spammed Arvis living these crazy ranged hits. Arvis 1v1ing Bravelyn, Arvis 1v1ing Reinhardt. Defense was getting a really good push. It was definitely something appreciated. And then I think the nail in the coffin was Sigurd and Ira, because in my opinion, Ira is the best melee unit offensively. And Sigurd, while I have very mixed feelings on Sigurd, I have unpopular opinions. I don't think he's as crazy as everyone makes him out to be. I think you gotta run him either straight offense or straight defense. There's like no middle ground. He either dedicates his entire build to be a range check, in which his melee becomes ass, or he sheds some of that defense for better melee, and then he can't take a range hit for shit. But that's kind of besides the point. And Ira, her offense is just fucking dumb because even lances need to run like Swordbreaker to have any chance of doing anything. But yeah, the Sacred Seal Forge and those two, and then like I think it was, yeah, this most recent Tempest. This pretty much paved the way. Unintended cut. I think I was talking about Sigurd and Ira. Yeah, I think Sigurd and Ira along with this most recent Tempest, paved the way for modern offense and defense, which is pretty much my topic today. The close defense sacred seal. I think, along with Joshua being a free unit, actually, these tools are insane, because like the moment I saw the closest defense being free and a closest defense sacred seal, with the moment I saw Summer Tiki, I knew I wanted close defense on Michaelis, because Michaelis is my baby and he does not take Bo's shit, even with Iote's shield. So may as well capitalize on his melee capabilities. When I got my hands on this stuff, I just went straight to Arena Assault, wanted to test him out. He tanks even swords. This man, without fully optimization, took 5 times 2 from Ira. He took 3 from Black Knight. And because he got doubled, his Ignis doing 44 damage single-handedly. Defense is in a place where it can finally prosper. Like, it's just, if it's come to a point where defensive numbers can go so high, you either, in melee, as far as melee is concerned, defense can go so high, if you can't one-round KO the defensive wall, you just lose. Because if they get defense so high that you can't like one-round KO them with a supported Ira or something, chances are their proc is probably going to overkill you. So, let's see. There's also, I wanted to bring up Weapon Refinery. Like, Weapon Refinery giving stats is also a big thing, because it allows defense to go even further. To put it into perspective, Baruka with a defense forward slaying axe and frickin' defense IV and close defense stacking, she will hit 57 res, 57 def without buffs. That's a little stupid, because it pretty much forces magic. And for like higher tier arena, where you're primarily going to be using melee unless you like merge the hell out of someone, this will be quite something, to say the least, because you just run out of options. And you gotta like, you can't play in the quicker post anymore. You have to bait everything. And there was also the subject of staves and daggers post refinery. I think Poison Dagger and Kitty Paddle are not listed for refinery. And we wanted to go over how daggers could have a niche of being this tool that can adapt to whatever meta it needs to. Like, it can freaking, like, it could just have whatever effective damage it needs to thrive. And I think that sounds pretty good. But I was also thinking the fact that defense is becoming so much stronger, I think staves like Pain Plus and just daggers may have a role in just chip damage, along with like the Savage Blow Sacred Seal, because having a free way to nullify quicker post, that's pretty good, in my opinion. But overall, yeah, I think defense is getting the love it needs, and I think it may become extremely prominent post-weapon refinery. Now, let me get this clear. I don't think this affects defense teams all too much, because I still think the methodology of just getting your one kill getting your one kill and calling it a day, I think that's still just gonna be the thing that drives most defense teams. Because offense isn't dead per se. I think offense is definitely no longer as oppressive. So I don't think there's much left I need to talk about, but like, just saying, I think to just reinstate it one more time, I think defense is definitely going to become a driving force in like player-based content. So yeah, I think don't sleep on defense. I will definitely be making another video on this post-weapon refinery to see just how good defense does end up becoming. So yeah, just like let me know your thoughts and stuff. I definitely would love to hear your take on this. For all you know, I may just be a crazy guy, so whatever.